Hi everybody, and thanks for joining me today. So as you can see, I'm going to finish today. Yay! I have just over 200 stitches left, 207. I'm not starting at 0 today. I was stitching a fair bit. I've done over 300. And I realized that I was coming up to the end of this piece, and I know you guys like to see it till the last stitch. So that's what I'm going to do today. And I have, I think 7 colors left. Yeah, 7 colors. As you see, I've got it. Pattern Keeper has the option to filter out the zeros. The first 2 are 0 that I did today, and then if I opened it tomorrow, they would be filtered out. If I turn that off, you can see all these zeros. And you can sort it by the color number, so like that. Or you can sort it by the number of stitches left. And you can also sort it in inverse, so the most stitches will be at top if you want it that way. There's lots of options. Or of course you can close the color list out completely if you prefer to have more room on your screen. You know, totally up to you. It's a very user-friendly app, in my opinion. Made by a stitcher for stitchers, so. Alrighty. Yeah, that's exciting. It's a gray, gloomy day today. It's actually snowing again. Ugh. It's not sticking, and it's supposed to be above freezing for the next couple weeks, so it's not like it's going to stay around, but still, come on. Really? Mid-April, we've got a overcast, depressing gray sky and snow. Oh well, nothing's gonna get me down today because I'm gonna finish today. Woohoo! Oh my, we're gonna start off with a knot. Let's not do that. There we go. And I'm not going to be pin stitching anymore because I'm close to the edges here, obviously. So I will be drawing the threads back into the center so that they don't extend past the edge. Do, do, do. Alrighty. So yeah, as you can see, none of the colors have more than 70 stitches. So it is really coming down to the the last bit. Like I said, there's just over 200 stitches left. And I didn't want to leave it till tomorrow, so I will finish and then I will pull my grid lines out and I will show you guys the whole thing once I've done that. It won't be washed and ironed yet. That'll be another step for later. I will eventually get around to doing that. And then I'll have to pick what color I want to frame this. I haven't decided yet, so if you have any suggestions, well, let me know. I'll probably do what I normally do and take it to the store and just compare it with different colors until I find one that seems to work. Usually I have an idea in mind, but this time I'm not sure because I'm thinking I don't want to pick anything too bright to surround it. I think it would kind of be overwhelming, but don't want anything too boring either, you know. Want something that'll bring it out. So I don't know, maybe something like the blue of the sky. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't decided yet, and I probably won't get around to that right away. It usually takes me a few months to get a final finished object because that kind of takes me a couple of days to get it really done. It's a lot of work. The stitching is, yeah, obviously my favorite part, so the finishing is one that takes a while. You can see I got kind of grid lines here. I like to leave a little give in them because I found I did that once where they went and were pulled taut to the edge, and then where the outer edge was with the holes, they got a little bit distorted. And so now I leave a little bit of slack in them because I don't want distorted fabric, obviously. It wasn't too bad, and I don't think it was really noticeable to anyone else, but I didn't want to risk, like I said, having enlarged holes. Alrighty. So yeah, you can see because I have this set so that the fewest number of stitches on top, those numbers will kind of jump around and swap places as I finish it. When they're the same, when they're all zeros, then it puts them in number order at the top, but I haven't got to that point yet. So the colors are kind of going this way, and I'm kind of forcing it to go kind of more diagonal right now. I don't normally do that, but I'm right near the end, so that's just sort of what I decided to do today. I mix it up sometimes. This area, this last little bit at the bottom of the piece went pretty fast the last few days, as it was not as confetti heavy. It was sort of big strips of color right where they intersect with each other. It was a little bit more detailed, but there would be like 5 or 6 rows that were across, you know, 4 or 5 of the big squares, so 40 or 50 stitches each, which would all be the same color. So that zipped by really quick. Because I was thinking I might not be done for at least one more session, but I surprised myself. It was an area that went quickly, and I've been stitching a lot because I really want to finish. And then, yes, I plan to jump right back in with a new project, so don't worry. I've had people ask, are you going to take a break? No, I love stitching, so I will be stitching Deer Creek by Donna Gelsinger next. I hope I'm saying her name right. And it will also be on 14 count, the regular size, regular amount of colors, as I normally do. And it's charted by Heaven and Earth Designs as well. And that fabric is all ready to go. It is in fact the fabric that I first started this piece on, pardon me, before somebody pointed out to me I had used the wrong color. It was supposed to be white, and I had used 01, which is a white tin. And somebody said maybe I could leave it because it would be like more of a stormy cloud because it was more of a gray color, but nah, it would have bothered me forever, pardon me, that it was wrong. And the whole picture is kind of very, very bright and airy, and I think having what looks like a stormy cloud in the corner would not have really fit with the rest of the piece, which is, you know, nice, bright, sunny day. And that next piece is a little less than this one. It's exactly 200,000 stitches. So yeah, I measured it and discovered that yes, I can fit it on there, and I won't have to rip out anything. I can just cut the mistake off. There's plenty of room. So I'll lose some of the fabric, but not the whole piece, because a lot of people were saying, oh, I would just chuck it. And I thought, but I don't want to chuck the whole thing. I mean, cross-stitch cloth is not cheap, right? And so then I thought, yeah, this way I salvage, like, say, 80% of it or something. So that's better than saving none of it. Oh, yeah, I saw one where someone did that. They were using paper and they missed a page, and they didn't realize until they had stitched the entire page that, yeah, they had jumped from like page 6 to page 8 or something like that. Oh, very frustrating. And again, like me, they were thinking of ripping the whole thing out, and you could, but it would be so tedious that they decided to repurpose it for a smaller piece. And I said, that's exactly what I did with mine when I messed up. Somebody was saying, like, maybe you could cut that rectangle out and patch it with a new piece, which I have seen people do, but I could understand why someone might not want to to do that. There was one I saw someone, their grandkid took scissors to the piece trying to help and cut holes in it, and thankfully they were able to patch it. But yeah, it's like heartbreaking. There's a little bit of purple here, but it's mostly blue. A teeny bit of gray, I think. Now this counter is probably going to roll over to 100% before we are actually completely done, because I find with these very high stitch count pieces, there's a bigger margin of error. So yeah, I found that it might say it's 100% done when I still have, you know, a few dozen stitches left to do. That's just... When it's a lower stitch count piece, there's less of a margin, because yeah, I had times it rolled over to 50% when it technically wasn't quite 50% yet. And so same thing. I suppose that would be some extra programming. Oh God, it's almost like a lump there. There we go. To make it not roll over to 100 before it is actually 0 stitches remaining. But I mean, good enough. Yeah, I got someone, how do you count the stitches? Doesn't that take a long time? Oh no, I'm not counting that. The app does it for me. I would never count them manually. That's just time I would want to spend stitching. My goodness, look at that. That was really tangled there. So I'm going to pull this to the back, and I'm just going to kind of drop the needle there. Let it untwist. There, that seems a little bit better. So this is looks like a flower, but it's kind of out of focus. It's a blob. And I plan to, like I said, starting a new project. I've had people ask, and yes, I'm planning on doing a new tutorial there showing me starting the project with my revised color flow method. That project's going to be a lot more green on the spectrum there, and things in shadow than this one, which was very bright, lots of blue. That one's a bit of a darker shading, and lots of green because it's like in a forest. So And anyone curious about the grid lines, I have a video showing pulling them out. And yeah, this is the Sulky Sliver thread. And you can't pierce it with the needle, so it slides out really easily. Some people use fishing line, but I found this thread is a little thinner. I was a little worried about the fishing line potentially being too thick. I mean, maybe the one I bought was not thin enough, but yeah, I started trying to grip with it and it was just, it made me nervous. So I switched to this thread. Oh, I think I pierced the fabric there. Gonna have to trim that. And like I said, yeah, one spool of thread was enough for me to grid like 3 projects. So it wasn't too terribly expensive. And like I've said before, if you stitch on higher counts than me, you would need even less since it'd be across a smaller area. I stitch almost entirely on 14 count. But I know a lot of people will stitch on a lot smaller. I don't mind that my finished pieces end up huge. There we go. One needle was kind of between the 2 strands of one of those threads there, but I was able to coax it apart. Okay, I'm going to go the other way. That spot is almost totally full. Yeah, I know there was some people who said they get really excited by the end and they don't stitch with parking anymore. They just stitch cross country, but I'm disciplined enough. I still like to do my parking. Avoiding that grid line, but too bad. Oh yeah, there's one down here. Can't remember how long it is. We'll see. Oh yeah, not very. That's kind of what I suspected. Okay. I find the pin stitches are the fastest, so that's why I prefer to do them when I can, but yeah, near the edges I don't. That looks a little funny. Okay, let's try that again. I think I kind of came up sort of around the threads instead of next to them. So. Have to be neat because you guys are all very eagle-eyed. And if it looks wonky, you will let me know. Not that I'm complaining, you know. Y'all can be very helpful. One gray one here. So there was 90 colors and we're down to the last 7. I think I'll just put that one there. All right. This is actually one color I don't have out, I don't think. I saw it jump because now it has fewer stitches than that one that has 6 stitches remaining. So yeah, if you have it set to go in number of stitches remaining, then yeah, the colors will switch places and such as different ones are completed. If you keep it in number order, then they don't move. Hear that immediately. That was a knot. Oops, I realized, yeah, I wasn't on the correct mode there. All right, this strand is going to run out pretty soon. So just kind of slowly growing out from that edge there. At least the ice is pretty much gone from the road, so that's nice. At least the pavement is bare, but yeah, we still have snow all over the lawns. And you can see some grass on some people's lawns, but it's very brown and icky. Usually takes a first rain after everything melts for everything to get nice and green again. Just drop it for a second and let it untwist a little. There. It's getting a little bit twisty. Make sure I'm on the correct side of that grid line. I just realized, oh, I missed a stitch right there. Yep. Yeah, of that color right there. See, this is one reason why I say I prefer to stitch without leaving gaps, because this way I catch mistakes sort of right away. There's a gap there and there should not be. And I realized, yeah, I highlighted that and I colored it in, but I didn't actually stitch it in, which I'm sure a bunch of you noticed. But yeah, that's why, because then I go to pick up to do the stitch immediately next to it and went, wait a minute, there should be a stitch next to this one. There shouldn't be two spaces. So that is one reason, like I say, why I like to park, because I find when I do make a counting error, I catch it much more quickly. All right, I'll start another thread. 94. So even though the colors were kind of going this way, I just do sort of little strips of them back and forth, and it kind of makes it go diagonal. I don't always do that, but today I am. I think when I hit the check mark on this, I'll be at exactly 100 left. I think we will see if I counted correctly. Oh no, I did not count correctly. Well, there you go. I did not. And now it will actually be less than just exactly 100 because there's 3 here. So, but soon there will be none. It's the final countdown. So this number will probably, yeah, switch places there because now there's only 2 stitches left. And yes, less than 100 remaining. Ooh, that'll take me probably what? Another half an hour? Something like that? We shall see. Oh, yeah, there we go. I was trying to form a knot on the back. Oh, sorry guys, bonking the camera there. Oh, we will get a 0 right now. Well, yeah, I kept saying to people, it won't be done till May, but y'all had more faith in me than I had in myself. I did manage to get done in April. Now watch, that'll jump to the top, and with a new 0. So I will put that thread card and everything back in there, and that envelope goes aside to go back in my main set. It's very satisfying when you get to the end and watch the the tub of envelopes slowly empty until there are none left. Oop, came unthreaded. you've got a knot on the back, that's why. Okay. It didn't pull all the way through because it was a knot, but there. I was able to remove it. And I'll just double check again. Yeah, this is nice and smooth back here, which is what I want. This number is going to jump up. Right. Oh, actually, did I miss one? Yeah, I did. I can do one more row. Alrighty. Oh, it's rolled over one more point, so it's now 99.98. kind of fun to watch the colors sort of leapfrogging back and forth. Actually, this will be another 0. Catch it on the back without it coming through to the front. Take a couple tries sometimes. Alright, so that's another envelope that I can set aside. And done. Another 0. Woohoo! Yeah, the zeros are always so fun. I do love when I get to a finish and watch them all count down to 0. That's not thunder, that's a neighbor bringing in their garbage cans. To go and bring ours in later. Oh yeah, I was saying in previous sessions about trying to use up my flour before it expired. I did manage. And I bought myself a new bag, but I bought a smaller one this time. Because, yeah, I have not been baking as much. I don't like when I get... I have to rush to use it up. So I bought myself a 5-kilo bag rather than a 10. Okay. This will be another 0. Oh yeah, we're now at 99.99. So like I said, it may actually roll down to over to 100% before we are completely finished. Right, and then there were 4. We have exactly 40 stitches left to, or no, yes, if I've done my math right. It's at 900 that it's totally done. We're at 860, so yeah, 40 stitches to go. Oh, hang on a sec. Yeah, actually going to do this row first. Oh dear. There's a knot in this thread. Okay, I don't know why you're being like that, but at least it was near the end, so easy to cut out. Now I will do those. Okay. Every color now has fewer than 10 stitches. And another 0. And now there are 3. Let's not have knots if you don't mind. All right, this is the very last strand I'll have to attach for this piece. Man, it's been a long road. Almost 3 years. Although, if you count the time I spent doing the upper left quarter, it'll be, I think, over 3 years because I didn't stitch that on camera. It rolled over to 100. Like I said, it might do that, even though I have 14 stitches left because, as I said, on these high stitch counts, there's a larger margin of error. So yeah, I figured that was going to happen. That happened when I stitched the Soulful Mediterranean Tranquility piece. Yeah, I had one project I was like, oh yay, it rolled over 50%, and then someone pointed out, okay, but if you do the math it doesn't work. And I was like, okay, yeah. I hadn't thought of that at the time, but you were right. It wasn't exactly 50%. It was a little bit before. It told me it was 50%, but it was actually about a dozen or so stitches off of actually being. I find it's very satisfying to fill this last corner in. And now there are 2. Woohoo! Yeah, I thought something felt wrong. Yeah, there's a... Okay, good thing I saw that before I clipped this thread. It had a knot in it. There we go. you're gonna be like that, really? Oh, come on. You're right at the end. Why did that be like that? Oh, Pete's sake. I'll be back, you guys. Okay, we're back. I picked up the phone only for it to give me a busy signal. Like, you called me. I don't know. This happens periodically, and it's very annoying. Okay, so actually, I set the last envelope aside, but I didn't take one of these envelopes. I realized I didn't take the I didn't take the envelope or the color out. There we go. Alrighty. So here we go. The last 4 stitches. Woohoo! This has been a long time coming. Just gonna smooth that piece of thread out so that it's not twisted. My gosh, you're gonna ruin my big finish, aren't you? Oh, for real. Oh my gosh. No, you're not coming out. Oh my goodness, you gotta be kidding me. Right at the end. Ay. Okay. I guess I said that was the last piece I was going to be, thread I was going to be adding, but I guess I was wrong. I shouldn't have said that. I jinxed myself. Oh, I'll rip these out because I need them to be, I need the piece to be long enough to tie it off. And then I'm going to have to add a new one again. Oh. Oh dear. Yeah, so much for my dramatic finish. Oh my gosh. So my tray is just about empty and my envelope tub is just about empty because we are just about done. I was giving you all a cliffhanger ending. Something like that. Oh my gosh. Okay, so drum roll. Oh, actually, that looks a little wonky to me. I'm really making you guys wait for it. Sorry, that was not my intention. It's been one of those days. Oh, maybe that's just the nature of how that one will look, yeah. Unless, did I come up at the wrong spot there? Maybe that's why it looks funny. Okay, maybe that's what's being weird. I don't know. It could just be the grid line in that hole is kind of making it look funny, and once I pull it out, it'll look fine. But, okay, let's try going this way. All right, good enough. And the last one. tie it off. And done. Yay! Picture confetti going across your screen here. So you can see all these zeros. If I change the filter, you can see all of them are zeroed out, which is kind of satisfying to scroll through, I find. Oh yes, and I said I would show you guys my my ends jar. That was done. So there it is. You can kind of see the layers of different colors, kind of different, yeah. Here's the tail, and this here's the flowers at the top. It's not all of my ends because I already made Christmas ornaments with some of them, and I plan to do with this one, but yeah, I think it kind of looks cool. So I will take this whole thing off the frame and pull out all the grid lines and show you what the whole thing looks like now that it is completely done. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If you've been here since the beginning or if you're new, thanks for sitting around and stitching with me. And like I said, next time I come back, I will be starting a new project. So stay tuned for that. All right, thanks everyone. Bye.